So it's noon. It feels like only yesterday wait a minute, it wasn't yesterday. It was like minutes ago, literal and figuratively minutes ago that we were discussing our Oscar reactions to the official Oscar nominations. Finally, I know it took a minute, but we finally did it. And now we're going into something that is a little bit more closer on time. Because we have the BAFTAs coming up in about a week. A week from tomorrow, actually. So we're going to discuss our BAFTA predictions. So welcome to another award show Popcast, exclusively here on the Popcast Network. My name is Owen. Joining me, as always, is Ashley.
Hi.
And back at it again, one more time, we have AJ.
Yes, I still am.
It is lunchtime, yes. For some, it's lunchtime. Ashley, what is it for you right now? Is it like dinner? Is it snack time?
5 hours, so it's time for me to have finished this thing, but fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Yeah, something like that. Also, I'm glad that we aren't following Wikipedia because I just noticed there's a rogue film in here that doesn't even be nominated. So,
oh, no.
You know. Thank God we're doing it via my chart.
Yes, Braga. It is lunchtime, which means I'll eventually eat. After this, I got to go get my hair cut, and I got to take care of it real quick. And then I'm actually going to be meeting up with my friend Joe. This is the first time in a while. Who, contrary to popular belief, does not work in a button factory. So, needless to say, I'll be hanging out with him. And like I said, later tonight, going to go watch the Beach Boys and John Stamos for about 30 minutes. And then I get to run 8.5 miles with April. Shout out to the April Fit Club. Getting me in super duper shape. It's amazing. I've not been in this feeling since, God, probably been about a decade. Shoot, so.
But can you stop the feeling?
No, and why would I want to? Now, let's talk about the BAFTAs, shall we?
Yes.
Let's talk about the BAFTAs. So, yeah, this is basically for all of you that are new to the network. Welcome. We like to discuss our award show predictions. We treat the award shows kind of like a lot of other YouTube channels and a lot of other people treat sports, to be totally honest. To be quite honest, this is something we've been doing for a while now. We start in August for our Oscar predictions, and then we move to just literal predictions for every one of the big categories for the actual other award shows, including the BAFTAs, which in all essence are the British Oscars. So it's definitely something we need to focus on. I will state that the BAFTA podcast should be rather interesting, given the fact that Ashley has the advantage of being able to potentially see them live, and we have to wait until the BBC America version.
Well, that's the thing. They don't ever do them live anymore.
Aha.
They start at like 7:30, but the broadcast isn't normally till sort of 9 or possibly 8. And the great thing is, like, if you do watch them live, in the first 10 minutes, it's like, here's the short film, here's the short animation, you know, and they just do it with like no razzmatazz or anything. Which is when you literally the presentation that you get is, I think, the same one that we get, because it's like also presented this evening, and they stick it at the end. So.
But we're going to have to completely eliminate social media for that day because we never know what's going to be spoiled, because they like to spoil things on Twitter and Facebook.
The sort of positive/negative thing is I've got to do the Elite Force podcast thing at 5 Eastern. So basically I'll just try and keep away from the stuff, or try not to ruin it for you guys if you are on a call with me or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just watch the archived iPlayer version as long as it's up. If it isn't, thanks.
I mean, it helps me because I actually work 9 to 5 that day. So
what a way to make a living.
That's a shoot. After the day before, on my first official timed and everything 5K. So yes, April and I are
Also-
running a 5K the day before. So
Also,
yes.
I've got a snack stash which is weirdly themed to the BAFTAs and your menu of choice, but we'll get to that.
Speaking of that, one thing I say right now, and I'm sure if you've been following along for a while, you know that there's the thing we do is we try different. We don't really try different, but we have certain foods that AJ and myself do for the award season. And I just want to bring this up. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's pretty obvious right now. I didn't have access to where I used to go because the one around me closed before. And then I went to another location. I was like, nope, not doing that. And now I can finally say it. I'm super excited. But low key right now, I can honestly tell you that I'm really happy that I'm going to be able to have Bubba Gump for the BAFTAs. Would have made more sense if Tom Hanks got nominated, but I guess not.
So, AJ, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so I guess we're gonna go ahead and start with the shorts, obviously.
Sounds good.
Oh well, no, we're starting with the public voted one.
Oh, do you want? I was gonna do that after the shorts, but do you want? If you want to start with that one?
Well, sort of that's the one that sort of the miss what's that called? The outlier, because this is the one which is voted for by people on their mobile phones. If they're on the same mobile network as the sponsors EE, which means I can't vote, which means I cannot rig this. So I
Who
can
can vote for this?
be impartial.
Who votes for this, Ashley?
Basically, as long as you've got an EE account, because they're the sponsors of the thing, you
Excuse
can vote.
me, Gary Oldman, who votes for this?
Well, no, it's
the thing here though is that you talk about rigging it, but one of these people has like an enormous fangirl fan base, so it's probably already rigged anyway.
I'm trying to work out which one it's rigged for, though, because in previous years have gone like, well, it's obviously going to be that person, and it's never been. I mean, looking through the history, last year, Tom Holland won it, despite the probably support for Anya Taylor-Joy and everything that she did. You know, John Boyega beat Dakota Johnson and Taron Egerton and Brie Larson. Jack O'Connell beat Margot Robbie and Miles Teller and Shailene Woodley and Gugu and Baffa Raw. You know, it doesn't always go to the obvious name. I mean, look at 2012 when Adam Deacon won against Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston and Chris O'Dowd and Eddie Redmayne. Adam Deacon was in prison 2 years later. Found guilty of harassment without violence. And then was arrested when a man reportedly armed with a machete-style knife. I've just double-checked on it. So, yeah. He was given not guilty and whatever, but it's like, yeah, his career... When it says rising star, his is probably the only one that didn't. Really.
Well, then.
It just fell off. So,
Kind of like when
barring that outlier, this is a trend for like, okay, this person's going to be good. I mean, to be honest, Tom Holland was already sorted last year because he'd already got the role of Spider-Man. So, you know.
what you were saying was just reminding me of when the kid that played Casper in Kids won the Spirit Award. Nobody was like, oh, his career will probably take off.
Nope.
Well, and you got James McAvoy, Eva Green, Sheila Beef, Kristen Stewart, Tom Hardy, Noel Clark, Gino Temple, Will Poulter, Jack O'Connell, John Boyega, and Tom Holland. It's a pretty good list. As I say, Adam Deacon's also on there as well, but it sort of doesn't fit the vernacular.
Well, this lineup this year.
Yeah, it's a good list.
Not bad. I think it's probably down the two, though.
Do you want to go through the nominees, AJ?
We have Timothée Chalamet, Daniel Kaluuya, Josh O'Connor, Florence Pugh, and Tessa Thompson. Obviously, Kaluuya is very much here. Florence Pugh has a lot of recognition for Lady Macbeth. Josh O'Connor's the kid from God's Own Country, right?
Yeah. Had to double check on that because it's like, keep in mind, he was apparently that good. He got the British Independent Film Award nomination as well for actor outright.
And Tessa Thompson's been around for a while. She was in Dear White People, then she was in Creed, now she's in Thor Ragnarok, and then she's about to be in Annihilation.
Which apparently a lot of people are like gushing over right now.
And I guess technically Infinity War.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if you guys have like seen anything about Timothée Chalamet online, but I don't know where the hell this comes from, by the way, but think the sort of Twilight fan base, the fan base itself, and how passionate they are. Timothée Chalamet has that fan base.
I don't see how or why.
Other thing to note with this public voting thing, only people in the UK can vote.
That's true, but I'm going to assume he's yeah. I mean, just look at his fucking name. You can tell he's like, you just think international when you just look at him. But that is fucking New York. So I would say it's totally possible it's Daniel Kaluuya, but yeah, just to be on the safe side, I'm going to say Chalamet.
Ashley?
I'm going with Daniel Kaluuya.
Ooh. I'm going to go with Timothée Chalamet.
Then it's Paige.
That's fine. Give me a real trailer, guys, please. Brad Guy says Tessa Thompson should have been nominated for supporting actress for Creed.
I need to see Creed again.
Creed was really good, though.
Well, now that we're getting Creed 2, you know, I must crush you again.
Oh, God. You can tell he's prepping for it. Michael B. Jordan doing interviews for Black Panther. It looks like he can't fit in any of his shirts. So, with that said, are we doing the shorts?
Yeah.
We'll start with animated.
Mm-hmm.
We have Heart, Mamoon, and Poles Apart. No idea what any of these are. This is strictly guesses. Poles Apart sounds like Santa in an online relationship with a lonely old woman in Antarctica. I don't know what it is for real, but I'm going to go with it.
I'm going to, again, because I don't know anything about this, I'm going to go Mamoon.
And I'm sure it's no surprise that just based on the title alone, I'm going with Have Heart.
All right, one of us.
We actually got, for once, we didn't predict the same one this time. Different. My God. One of us is going to be right. That's for sure. None of us are going to be wrong.
This has officially become the most exciting category of BAFTA now.
I don't know. But
probably not far from the truth.
Now we've got 5 short films that is like, okay.
So we're on to, I guess, live action short.
Yeah, they label it as British short, but it's like, okay. The great thing is, one of the British shorts isn't even got in here, but it's up for an Oscar in The Silent Child. So there you go.
We have Amir, Cowboy Dave, A Drowning Man, Work, and Wren Boys. Based on nothing, I'm going to say A Drowning Man.
Sequel to a serious man. Just because it sounds right, I'm going to go Cowboy Dave.
I wanted to go with the Sacha Baron Cohen movie.
Considering how much of a fondness you had last year for, you know, La La Land, you should go for Emma Stone's Amir. I'm guessing it's not that one.
That's funny you mentioned that because I am. That's what I was going to do. But I do want to mention Cowboy Dave. AJ told me the existence of Cowboy Dave, and I don't know anything about the movie or know anything about Cowboy Dave. That was a random, redundant statement. But it's just, I mean, Cowboy Dave, like I said, Sacha Baron Cohen, Straight Dave, Bruno, needs to be mentioned.
Oh, shit. I've recognized the guy's fucking face from Cowboy Dave. And I can't think who it is. God damn it.
Colin O'Toole and Jonas Mortensen is what it says.
Yeah, but that's the
Thank
producers. That's the producers. I'm just looking at this. Oh shit! It's got him from bloody not Daniel Blake. What was the Looking for Eric? The Eric Cantona one. Sam Spurrell, Steve Avets, Dylan Naden, Christian Bottomley. I recognize the face, but ooh, weirdly, I might have picked the right one just by guessing. All right, next.
That's what happens sometimes, especially when you don't have any knowledge of what's going on.
All right, the papers I'm looking at are in a really damn bizarre order, so I'm just going to put these in my order and hope I don't get lost. Which means that the next one is going to be Outstanding Debut by a British writer, director, or producer.
Yeah.
That is very far above on the list, but okay.
I was just going, I think, by the list that they had on the official BAFTA site.
Mine comes from The Guardian. I think The Guardian was fucking stoned when they put this together. But for debut by a British writer, director, or producer, we have The Ghoul, I Am Not a Witch, Jawbone, Kingdom of Us, Lady Macbeth. I don't really think this is a race. I think Lady Macbeth has this pretty easily.
If you take into account that out of these films, only Lady Macbeth is in Best Outstanding Film altogether, yet alone debut. Yeah, I'm going Lady Macbeth as well.
Yeah, it's probably a good bet to go with Lady Macbeth here. I will say that the one thing that was jumping out at me right away, and this is going to make me really frustrated if this ends up being the winner, was Jawbone. Again, just judging by names.
I'm trying to remember what Jawbone was about. Let me see.
Well, you know, there was
It's about boxing.
Girl. Oh no, wait, that's something else.
Oh Christ! It's got Ray Winston and Ian McShane in.
Oh man!
Why wasn't this a shit film? Oh, it's a BBC film, so it's biased. I see.
You can watch it for $4 right now on YouTube.
Jeez.
I think before we go into the text, let's go ahead and tackle the three separate ones. The foreign, documentary, animated.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna start with foreign, where we have Elle, First They Killed My Father, The Handmaiden, Loveless, and The Salesman. I guess a lot of people are saying that they think Elle can do this. I'm just gonna be. I mean, obviously, and Loveless is kind of in people's minds because it's a current contender, unlike three of these. But I'm gonna be safe and stick with Oscar and say The Salesman.
Ashley,
I'm gonna be safe and stick with what everybody said last year, and that's The Handmaiden. Because it got like the festival screenings and everything, but it didn't officially open, I think, until April. But it was still critics like one of their top 3 or 5 films of last year, whereas Salesman wasn't. And I think that might carry over. Mainly as well because it's pretty cheap on Amazon for some reason. Both the original and the director's cut edition, which they both put out at the same time as well. So it's like you had to work out which day was showing the standard cut and which was showing the extended cut if you wanted to see one or the other. Or both. I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to go with Handmaiden and probably go down in the fire.
And I'm going with Loveless.
All right.
This is going to be a short podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Good.
Yeah, that's shoot. Bright Guy said, not to mention one of the producers of The Drowning Man is the producer of The Act of Killing and The Look of Silence.
Oh, I feel good then.
Now I'm worried.
Speaking of those movies, how about documentary?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We have City of Ghosts, I'm Not Your Negro, Icarus, An Inconvenient Sequel, and Jane. That's an interesting group. I'm Not Your Negro ended up nominated last year, and by the way, is great. I managed to see it after the ceremony, and it is spectacular. Obviously, Jane was a frontrunner for a while before its Oscar snub. Thanks to the Oscar nominations, I'm staying the hell away from City of Ghosts.
And there's your winner.
Honestly, even though you could say this about I'm Not Your Negro last year, for some reason, I just I just went easy, and I said, well, because it's the only one that's a current Oscar nominee, I went with Icarus, even though I'm probably going to regret that.
Ashley.
Expect me to say City of Ghosts, but I'm actually going with I'm Not Your Negro.
And I'm going to go with Jane.
Which makes sense because it won everything else, which then means that if it does miss the Oscar, that'll be the weird one. It got everything, and Oscar just went, "Nah, you're not even worth even being nominated." So there you go. And then the short and animated one, thank God.
Yeah, they're smart. They only did 3. So there are no fuck-ups. Where we have Coco, Loving Vincent, My Life as a Zucchini. Coco, obviously.
I'd love it to be Loving Vincent, but I think it'll be Coco as well.
Coco.
Yeah, God. Loving Vincent is so fucking impressive. Jesus.
Yeah. As I say, they were pushing it with the special screening, I'm guessing was trying to appeal to BAFTA members and whatever. So now we get into the text.
All right, let me try to get my shit back in order here. I guess we're going to start with visual effects.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I guess it's worth noting real quick. And I would say what I'm about to say is the same for the two of you as well. Worth noting, some of these will deliberately be like, I don't have like all my Oscar predictions sorted out or anything.
Same.
But by no means does this mean I'd be predicting the same thing for both of these. Some of these will deliberately be against what I think Oscar's going to go with. Because obviously they're not going to like just line up. So I'm trying to keep that in mind when I chose these. So going on visual effects.
Mm-hmm.
We have Blade Runner, Dunkirk, The Shape of Water, The Last Jedi, and War for the Planet of the Apes. This is one I'm hoping matches up. War for the Planet of the Apes. It helps that, I don't know, for some reason, something that's making me more confident is the fact that they also lined up with The Jungle Book last year. Even though I watched it, I was able to watch it again, and something horrific occurred to me in regards to doing predictions while I was watching it.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to win more than one. Well, I say that about the Oscars. I'm not sure about BAFTA, but I feel like, once again, I stress, only one, maybe 2 or something. I'm not saying this about all of them. After watching it again, Blade Runner could conceivably win anything it's up for, except for director. Like any tech nomination for Blade Runner, it could legitimately surprise or genuinely surprise, whatever you want to say. But I'm gonna stick with Planet of the Apes here.
Okay.
I want to say Apes, but I'm gonna just go with Blade Runner. Don't know why. Because I probably should say Dunkirk because it's Framestore because it's English.
I'm going to go out in left field and say The Shape of Water.
Interesting.
Didn't it win some visual effects one anyway?
I think it did. To the accolades list.
Somewhere. Anyway.
It would have been a significantly smaller one. The next one's going to be sound. Are we ready? And obviously they combine sound.
Yeah. Just really confusing.
So we have the obvious. Baby Driver, Blade Runner, Dunkirk, The Shape of Water, Star Wars. I feel like they could go inspired and say Baby Driver. I really feel like they could, but I'm going to be safe and stick with Dunkirk.
Ashley?
I have to champion Baby Driver.
I'm going with Baby Driver as well.
And, It's the one that I should get right because, it's my country and everything, but I want to go down with a fire and hope that they just go for the right ones rather than the obvious ones. Not to say that Dunkirk isn't sort of obvious or right. But yeah, Star Wars Last Jedi. But then again, I guess it matches up with everything that Oscar did. Literally. The next.
Okay, we may have shortened animated, but we have expanded makeup. Obviously, they've always had 5, but you want to talk the other ones? For makeup, we have Blade Runner, Darkest Hour, I, Tonya, Victoria and Abdul, and Wonder. Yeah, Darkest Hour. They clearly love Darkest Hour. I feel like this is one of Darkest Hour's easiest ones.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Darkest Hour as well.
Darkest Hour for sure.
Fantastic. Are we ready for costume design?
Mm-hmm.
These are split up on my damn papers, so this is great. We have
2 pages, damn it.
We have Beauty and the Beast, Darkest Hour, I, Tonya, Phantom Thread, The Shape of Water. Once again, feels like it should be a very easy sweep throughout the season for most awards, and this will be Phantom Thread.
Ashley?
Yeah, I'm saying Phantom Thread as well. They're going to go against Jacqueline Duran.
Phantom Thread.
Unless they don't.
All right. How about score? Or no, we'll do production design, then score.
Okay.
Right, okay.
Production design, we have Beauty and the Beast, Blade Runner, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, The Shape of Water. Blade Runner's such a threat here. Like, production design seems to be one of the absolute shoe-in things for The Shape of Water, but Blade Runner's a threat. Absolutely. And here, they could totally be inspired enough to do this, especially since they liked Blade Runner a lot more than the Oscars did. But I think I'm going to stick with The Shape of Water anyway.
I'm going to go with that beach and go Dunkirk.
Shape of Water.
Okay, now we're ready for score?
Yeah.
All right. This is where I start throwing in my, maybe they'll be a bit more inspired things. For score, we have Blade Runner, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Phantom Thread, The Shape of Water. Obviously, The Shape of Water has been very consistent here so far. Blade Runner's total possibility. Once again, they love Darkest Hour. I think this will be one of the times they go inspired and they give it to Greenwood. I don't really base that on much of anything. But
Even though I've still got to see the film literally like tomorrow, I'm actually going with the same. I think they might go with it as well.
And I absolutely love the score in Shape of Water, but I'm just Phantom Thread. Just wow. Greenwood for the win.
Baseball's going to screw us all over.
Which is going to bug me because I've been putting him over the entire time. So.
Oh my god, we've already made it to editing.
Mm-hmm. We're going through these quick.
For editing, we have Baby Driver, Blade Runner, Dunkirk, The Shape of Water, and 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. It's between 2. Once again, I could totally see them going with Baby Driver. Completely. To the point that I'm actually sitting here questioning what I put down. But I'm gonna stick with Dunkirk. Because didn't BAFTA also go with Hacksaw Ridge here?
I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll stick with Dunkirk.
Weirdly enough, I'm gonna go the same and go Dunkirk. I guess I'm giving up on the Baby Driver.
Nope, I'm going with Baby Driver.
There we go. Somebody made the right move. Logically, I think I know what I need now.
Continue.
Are we ready for cinematography?
Yeah. No. Time for the debut. We're only doing it 2 fucking times, unless the actual wins happen. It's motherfucking Deacon's watch. Because if Deacons don't win, it's a fucking crime.
Hey, AJ, do you want to try to follow that up?
I'm sitting here debating the decision I went with. For cinematography, we have Blade Runner, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, The Shape of Water, Three Billboards Outside of Missouri. For the longest time, I was saying this was between two. It's between Blade Runner and Dunkirk. But yeah, a lot of people have been starting to bring to my attention The Shape of Water is a total threat here. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know if I should stick with this or not. Damn it. All right, fine, I will. I think they're gonna throw a bone to Darkest Hour here. Actually, it kind of makes a. I don't know if it's in its favor in cinematography or against it in cinematography that Joe Wright's not in director. Because honestly, I'm a little more surprised about that the more I think about it, given the lineup we did get and how much they love Darkest Hour.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this could be the makeup for that. Or, like I said, it could be Joe Wright's snub is blatantly telling me it's not this. Especially when we got Blade Runner, Dunkirk, The Shape of Water in the mix. But yeah, I'll just say, totally randomly, they will say Darkest Hour.
Deacons.
All right. So before we go into that, Braga had mentioned a couple things. Am I one of the only people that love Dell?
I hope so.
Well, no, I loved it because it referenced a video game that's got absolutely nothing to do with that film. It was like, that's the weirdest product placement. Like, yeah, see this film where a woman gets raped. Ding!
Oh boy.
But they really must have like we're going to take our sort of goblin character and make him sort of rape a princess mockingly in the game. Can you make that, please?
Braga also said, I really enjoyed My Life as a Zucchini. It's only an hour long, both the main and the English version, and I recommend here you go. AJ, here's an idea for down the line. Versus the Peanuts movie versus My Life as a Zucchini.
Wow, that's interesting.
We'd have to make that a little bit longer down the line because they're too fresh of movies, but yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Well, I saw it, but I never actually reviewed My Life as a Zucchini.
You never did. And he's eating Sam's Club pizza right now. Bry Guy says, Ashley, you're the funniest out of the three of us when it comes to the award show podcast with your language, your yelling, and your use of audio.
Sorry, when I feel passionate about Roger Deakins, it comes out. We've established this over the past few years, but it's now getting to the point where it has to be fucking time. Also, Owen, what's your pick? Because you never did.
I want to go against this too, but I was like, it seems like it's actually going to happen. I really think Shape of Water is a challenger here. After watching it again, Darkest Hour definitely has a vote in the right direction. Dunkirk's always a possibility. I'd like to see Three Billboards win this out of absolute nowhere. That'd be nice. But yeah, this is Deacon's win.
Although, if we're going on sort of the AJ logic of or the actual logic of, PGA not becoming a Best Picture win, if he doesn't win the BAFTA, perhaps that means he wins the Oscar.
It's possible.
Considering every other bloody time.
And if Roger Deakins loses, you're going to see a meltdown from Ashley that's going to be the levels of when The Undertaker lost the undefeated streak at WrestleMania.
It depends. It depends what wins. I'd say Darkest Hour is the weakest of those five. So if that did it, I'd be pleased for AJ, but pissed at the same time.
Well, you weren't in the same room when someone who used to be on this network, who actually shouted out to me the other day, really random. Shout out, Will. Said, not the Will, he basically, I was in the same room watching WrestleMania with him and his friends when The Undertaker lost his undefeated streak, and it was kind of like, yeah, you could hear a pin drop and then bad things happen. So that's what I'm imagining is going to happen with Ashley if Roger Deakins jobs out yet again.
God damn it, son. Right, so I'm guessing because it's the one that isn't related to the Big Eight, are we doing the British film next, or are you leaving that till later?
I hope it's not too American of me to think that it is below the top 8. So
No. Well, because Paddington 2, motherfuckers!
Oh, Paddington 2 still has 2 more cases to come back. Isn't that amazing?
Yes!
But
it's such an amazing movie. I love it so much.
But yes, let's go ahead and do the 6 nominees for Outstanding British Film. Where we have Darkest Hour, The Death of Stalin, God's Own Country, Lady Macbeth, Paddington 2, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Apparently 3 Billboards is a threat here because it's very much, it has that status, but at the same time I feel like it's going to hurt it that it really feels like it's in here on a technicality. So I'm going Darkest Hour.
Ashley. I have an interesting decision to make right now, and I'm not sure how I want to do this.
The one I can rule out is Lady Macbeth.
Yeah.
I really don't know about the other 5. Just because Paddington 2, motherfuckers. Paddington 2. I'll say that.
Bless it. You're gonna steal my thunder, good sir.
Part of me doesn't know whether they might go indie with God's Own Country or whether they'll actually say this is something that's actually promoting the best of British, both in filmmaking and good old blighty top diddly do. Stereotypical sort of stuff. And also because I'm a fan of Paul King from The Mighty Boosh and Simon Farnaby from literally everything. Bunny and the Bull, Boosh, Horrible Histories. So yeah, that's sort of biased to some extent.
Okay.
Although I wouldn't be surprised if Death of Stalin actually got in as well, which apparently is getting a March release. I think in or around Oscar weekend for you guys.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen trailers for it.
When it got its March releases, when everybody was like, "Oh, so is it not eligible then?" Are we ready for the Big 8?
Yeah. Before I have to officially announce mine. Bry Guy says Death of Stalin will be The Lobster for the next year's Oscar, but the Lobster version in adapted screenplay.
Holy shit, that did happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another Ashley call too.
Keep in mind, I had it in contention for this year because there was still no word, because it debuted in an American film festival and it took forever. It came out here before. It came out in Russia before.
Yeah, for the longest time, I thought it was one of the safest ones in adapted screenplay.
Yeah, I really messed the boat on that one. I'm just gonna go with Paddington 2. It deserves to win. I want it to win. It'd be great if it did win. But I wouldn't be shocked if they just gave it to Darkest Hour because that's the highest it's going to go, other than Oldman.
As I say, it'd be wonderful, but at the same time, to give it to Paddington 2 would be to blatantly ignore the fact that there are 2 of the 5 picture nominees in there.
I'm still trying. Yeah, because if we're going on that, because obviously, was it last year Daniel Blake?
I think so.
Or 2 years before.
Apparently, Bry Guy is the award show historian on the network. He says, not surprised Owen went with the first Paddington years ago. That's when Ashley went with Under the Skin. AJ went with Pride, but lost to AJ's favorite film, The Theory of Everything.
Because it was nominated for Best British Film and the Best Adapted Screenplay back at the BAFTAs 3 years ago.
Yep.
And didn't win. I personally think Paddington 2 is better than Paddington 1, so on that logic, hopefully it does. What did win that year? Oh, Theory of Everything, but it was up.
That was
against
in the
71.
comment that we just had from
Yeah, but it was
Guy
up
in
against
chat.
71 and Imitation Game as well, which both were in the list as well. But then again, Theory of Everything, did it win? Oh no, because they went to Boyhood because reasons.
AJ's like, I'm gonna go with my pride. I remember that very well.
I'm trying to remember why the hell I went with Pride. I honestly don't remember.
It's a bloody good film.
I went with Paddington. I mean, come on.
All of them are good films.
Speaking of that, let's get to more good films and good portrayals in good films.
God, I completely forgot American Honey came out last year. Yeah. So
So did the Academy.
Adapted or original first?
Adapted.
Right.
Okay.
We got Call Me By Your Name, The Death of Stalin, Film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool, Molly's Game, and Paddington 2. The next 2 days are going to be very nice to James Ivory.
Yep.
This will be as well.
Yeah, I'm going James Ivory as well.
I predicted it for picture, but it's not winning screenplay, James Ivory.
Original?
Yeah.
I got this.
Oh my god, this race this year. This is like this is okay. This is like almost like the 2014 original screenplay race. We have Get Out, I, Tonya, Lady Bird, The Shape of Water, and 3 Awards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
This should be the Oscar lineup.
I have been saying that I think Lady Bird is going to have a sudden surge should she beat Peel at WGA. And I think a lot of that is me trying not to jinx 3 Billboards, quite honestly.
That makes sense.
But they seem to have really taken a liking to it here. And I actually feel kind of confident that they might they'll go 3 Billboards. I really hope so. And just to see, 3 Billboards get the chance to beat I, Tonya in more than one category would just be it'd be good for the soul,
Mm-hmm. So the pick's Lady Bird, is it?
What was
AJ.
that?
AJ's going with 3 Billboards.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ashley?
Lost in the mire. I'm going to go with Lady Bird. When I probably should say Get Out, but there you go.
Okay. I'm going down with the ship here. 100%. Greta's going to start winning, and it's about time.
With you, I'm not saying this is going to necessarily have anything to do with this, but with both of you saying that, I will just say I think it's very interesting. Neither of those are in picture.
That's exactly, and I know you're not reading chat. That's exactly what Bry Guy just said. But directing in picture both. But Greta should not have missed directing. That's completely wrong.
I don't know why you're so hung up on that. Peel is definitely a bigger exclusion than her.
Well, I think they both should be in there. They both deserve to be in there.
Yeah.
I know who I would bump out if it were me, but that's me.
Well, it'd be the ones that aren't in the Oscar race.
Yep.
But we're jumping ahead. Let's get to the category where I think the surprise is going to come.
Okay. I would just like to say, before anything else, everything I'm about to say has nothing to do with bias. Maybe a little bit, but that's not my intention.
Okay.
We have Allison Janney for I, Tonya, Kristen Scott Thomas for Darkest Hour, Laurie Metcalf for Lady Bird, Leslie Mann for Phantom Thread, and Octavia Spencer for The Shape of Water. This didn't even come from me, by the way. Somebody put it in my head. They were talking about the fact that I, Tonya is very much a movie about Americans, more or less.
Yeah, for the most part, that's correct.
Some of the worst kind.
And also correct.
And I was, in the last podcast we just did, I was saying that she's very, very comparable, almost to a disgusting degree, to Melissa Leo in The Fighter. Now, Melissa Leo went on to win the Oscar for The Fighter. I believe Melissa Leo was snubbed here entirely.
Yep, I believe so, because I think we're upset about it.
So, I'm going to use that as a glimmer of hope that we will have just one, unfortunately, Allison Janney loss. And they're going to go with somebody who's in their home playing field. So I went with Leslie Manville.
Interesting. Very interesting. Ashley?
You follow the Oscars. You go Leslie Manville. I think there's more likelihood that this is what I think is going to be the surprise one. It's going to be like, yeah, we'll champion her.
I got a surprise for you. I think Laurie Metcalf takes this.
And if that happens, you know.
Of course, it's also the cool thing, if me and Ashley end up being right. Everybody's making a big deal about how, whoa, both of Alfie Ullman's parents are nominated. That's great. What if both his parents win the BAFTAs? That's even better.
Interesting.
Hey, this one's probably not so debatable, which is cool. Are we ready for supporting actor?
Yes.
We have Christopher Plummer for All the Money in the World, Hugh Grant for Paddington 2, Sam Rockwell for 3 Awards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Willem Dafoe for Fuller Project, and Woody Harrelson for 3 Awards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Worth noting, Hugh Grant won the London Critics, which is amazing. But I don't think we're going to have any changes here. I think Rockwell's got this.
The UK loves a bit of Rockwell. Yeah, I'm saying the same.
Rockwell. I almost feel like someone's watching
me. What if
me.
it was Hugh Grant, though?
Just imagining it is spectacular. I can't even imagine if it was.
Rain on the roof, motherfuckers.
All right. We might actually have to think about this one.
Maybe.
Ready for actress?
Yeah, let's do this.
We have Annette Bening for Film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool, Frances McDormand for 3 Awards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Margot Robbie for I, Tonya, Sally Hawkins for The Shape of Water, Saoirse Ronan for Lady Bird. Okay, even after Globe and even after SAG, once again, I don't know if it's my fear of jinxing it or what, but I'm not letting myself get convinced of McDormand yet.
I understand that.
So the big question was, I've been saying the whole fucking time. Oh, I think, well, for a while there, I was saying, oh, Ronan's going to win. Ronan's going to win easily. Ronan's going to have a big streak. Well, Ronan has not had a streak by any means whatsoever.
Nope.
So it's like, I've been saying, Ronan's going to get at least one win. Ronan's going to at least get one win. So clearly, if that's true, this would have to be it.
Yep.
But that was before The Shape of Water was what it is right now. And so you're like, okay, well, if you don't want to give it to McDormand, once again, if you're not going to give it to the front runner, you want to look at, okay, who's got the home field advantage? Sally Hawkins certainly fits that bill. Didn't she also get in for, what was that factory movie she was in or whatever that was? I never actually did see it.
Made in Dagenham?
Yes, that one. So, I mean, I would say, oh God. I mean, obviously I would just love it if we had a full McDormand suite. That would be the ideal turnout. But the one I marked on the paper here is Sally Hawkins. But I'm going to be really pissed if I said all year that Ronan was going to get at least one win, and then I go Sally Hawkins and fucking Ronan gets it. I'm going to be pissed off. But yeah, with just a feeling and with how well The Shape of Water's been doing, I'm going to say Sally Hawkins.
Very interesting.
I don't know. I'm going to stick with McDormand.
I'm going to go with Ronan. Lady Bird needs to start winning things. And hopefully...
You go for again, AJ? Sorry. I was trying to line up something on the tablet.
What's going on?
Which one did you go for again, AJ?
Sally Hawkins.
Right. Work out where to place the tick. Right.
I feel like it's really trying to tell me something here because the picture on this paper, right under Best Actress, is a fucking picture of Lady Bird McPherson. So, I don't know if they're trying to tell me something or not, but yes. Need we even do this? But because it's what we do, we will say Best Actor is Daniel Day-Lewis for Phantom Thread, Dana Kaluuya for Get Out, Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour, Jamie Bell for Stars Don't Die in Liverpool, and Timothy Chalamet for Call Me by Your Name. Now, obviously, Jamie Bell has been able to win this before without being nominated for the Oscar, but like that's going to happen. Obviously, this is nobody else. If it ever was anybody else, yes, Oldman, obviously.
I'm just playing the last 7 seconds of the film that he should have got the Oscar for 5 years ago. Inga. Yeah. I just wanted to play something that wasn't everyone.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious Oldman's got this.
I mean, it's his own backyard as well, you know. I don't know whether Oldman's won a BAFTA before. I don't think so.
The way he talks, I don't think he got much of anything prior to this in his career. Prior to this year.
He might have had some television stuff, possibly.
He won in 1998 for Nil by Mouth for Best British Film and Best Original Screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he won.
He wrote that as well, yeah. But he was nominated as well for Prick Up Your Ears back in '88 when he was Joe Orton as well.
And Tinker Tailor in 2012.
So basically, he won a BAFTA for just 100 pages of the word cunt.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So basically, Ben Kingsley and Sexy Beast.
Exactly, Ben Kingsley and Sexy Beast. All right,
So
we're down to 2.
Yeah.
He was nominated for an Annie for Kung Fu Panda 2, but lost to Bill Nighy for A Half for Christmas. What is that about?
Hey, remember, Bill Nighy also won this for Love Actually now. Anything is possible.
Mm.
Yes. Give Billy Mack all the awards, please.
Absolutely. Especially this time of year.
Are we ready for director?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, we are. We have Denis Villeneuve for Blade Runner, Luca Guadagnino for Call Me by Your Name, Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk, Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water, and Martin McDonagh for 3 Awards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, because they know what the fuck they're doing. I would say they went a little inspired with their nominees, so it's like maybe they'll go inspired with the winner. No, they won't. It'll be Del Toro.
I just want to see him dance again.
Also a fair point.
But then I don't know whether the BAFTAs would have the audacity to play him off. Especially because it's a taped bloody ceremony. And it's broadcast on television, so you could get away with him saying whatever he wanted. So, well, within reason, of course. If you started being like racist or whatever, be like, yeah, just edit it out. But yeah. I just want to see him randomly dance to what, I guess, because normally they play the soundtrack to the film. Just they don't actually get an orchestra in, they just played like one of the bits of the soundtrack to the film. Somehow I could see him sort of waltzing down the aisle to Dapla. So you know.
Coco just streaked the Annie Awards, is what Bry Guy said.
That was a week ago.
Up next.
How about lastly? Our 5
Which one
picture.
did Owen go for? Del Toro?
Oh yeah, of course, Del Toro.
Okay.
Our 5 picture nominees are Call Me by Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, The Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards Outside of Missouri. I would love it if 3 Billboards could get one more push here after SAG. Honestly, even with the Joe Wright snub, wouldn't put it past them to go with Darkest Hour.
Nope.
Obviously, Dunkirk as well. But I do think we are going to further solidify an inevitable picture win for The Shape of Water here. Not to say that would make it inevitable, like the Revenant won here, but I think this will put The Shape of Water in the definitive position it needs to be in, since Three Billboards just got that SAG victory when The Shape of Water wasn't even nominated there in Ensemble. I think this will be that extra boost that gets it into the safe place it'll be in.
How the fuck was Olaf Frozen Adventure nominated for an Annie? Sorry, I'm going Three Billboards.
The Shape of Water.
Somehow I just partially think that it's like, I'm trying to remember, did I say it for British? No, I didn't. So I just think they're going to stick with it that way somehow because it's film 4.
I will say one thing about you choosing Three Billboards. Please, for the love of God, be right.
Nice.
And then it goes to Call Me By Your Name. We go, well, they literally are the outlier.
Well, Bry Guy brought up a good point. The last 3 winners at the BAFTAs didn't match up best picture.
So I have to be wrong.
So what did they go with in 2014? It wasn't Boyhood, was it?
Yeah, they went with Boyhood.
Wow.
Let me just have a look. Last year was La La Land, Revenant, the year before that, and then Boyhood. And they only got it right with 12 Years a Slave, you know, partially because of the British connection. Again, film 4. But yeah, I don't think the next time Atonement didn't win in 07. So I think that was the last time. So from 08 through to 2013, I think they were on the nose because Slumdog got Best Picture, Hurt Locker got Best Picture. Oh, King's Speech? Did that get Best Picture then?
Yes.
Trying to remember. I remember the artist and Argo and 12 Years a Slave because of all the razzmatazz and the ceremony. But... And then the Queen actually won a few years before that. And then the infamous one were Brokeback. But, you know, least said about that, the better. And the Aviator in 04, I don't think won, did it?
No, it should have, but it didn't.
What did it go to instead?
$1 Million Baby.
Oh, which wasn't even nominated for any of it. It's like brilliant. So yeah,
that's our show.
Dunkirk is UK, USA, France, and Netherlands. The only actual UK film is Darkest Hour. Because Call Me By Your Name is Italy, France, and Brazil. But then again, if we're following the trend, ever since, I mean, the artist was French, but the last 3 have been American with like barely any UK related films at all actually even getting in for nomination. So the fact that 3 of the 5 are actually UK based is, I think, the first time for at least 7 or 8 years, perhaps, if that. Which I guess says that British filmmaking's actually doing all right now. Because Paddington 2, bitches.
Right. So, I think that's going to be your show, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning, whether listening in live or in archive. Thank you to everyone in our live chat today. And if you didn't check out the Oscar
advance warning. Poles Apart got Best Student Film at the animated. At the
Emmy Awards. Victory.
You don't want it again. Sorry, Owen.
Braga wants to know how Joanna Lumley will do.
Oh, she should be solid. No. She's a quality woman.
Yep.
So yeah, she I have full confidence in her. And she should really be good.
AJ will be the only one that gets this, given the fact of one of her most famous characters that everyone knows. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see if this is the award show that I actually do well at. So that's going to be your show, everyone. So I want to thank everyone for joining us, whether live or in archive. Ashley, where can we find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter at Ash is my name UK.
AJ, of course, cannot be found on social media networks, but you can contact him via myself at Sir Disney on Twitter or SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. If you have any comments or questions or anything you want to ask AJ, leave a comment on the bottom of one of the videos. AJ's movie reviews went out yesterday. We have the Oscar video, the Popcast, which was 2 hours long. Check that out if you haven't yet. We've got our BAFTA Popcast coming up after the BAFTAs are over. We still got a Spirit Awards Popcast to do. And then we still have our Oscar prediction podcast to do and podcast to go after the Spirit Awards and the Oscars, respectively. That's going to end the 2008 award season. So that's going to be your show. And I want to thank everyone for watching and joining us this morning. And until tomorrow.
Sorry. Just thought, because we might want to mention this as breaking news. Johan Johansson's died.
Holy shit.
Interesting. Did not know that.
How old was he?
48.
What the fuck happened?
Found dead in his Berlin apartment yesterday. No details yet, but had been missing for a few days prior.
Wow.
That's a big loss to that field.
Big time.
Also, I did also want to mention real quick, are we still looking at the 25th for the Oscar one? Because it's perfectly set up to be, it's the following day after the last guilds are handed out, and it's exactly a week before the show.
I mean, the problem with that, I think I can say this. Let me check that.
The Chamber pay-per-view is then, but if we did it sort of...
I could do it in the morning. I mean, as long as I don't have to work, but I don't know if I'm doing that or not. I guess we'll see. Yeah, I think that's going to be your show then.
I just thought I'd say that because, pretty big news.
Yeah, I'd say so.
12 months ago he was, nominated as well and everything. So.
And AJ did bring up the theory of AJ and Brad Guy both brought up the theory of everything.
And last year was in for Arrival.
Mm-hmm.
He was music and sound consultant on Mother that came out. And of course, he's also done the score for Mary Magdalene, which is, I think, coming out next month as well.
Let us not forget that incredible fucking score in Sicario.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And Prisoners. The Denis Villeneuve connection.
Yeah.
And we'll never know what happened with Blade Runner.
Yeah, because he was supposed to at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then got taken off and replaced with Zimmer and Wolfish. So expect to see him rather prominently in the in memoriam section on the BAFTAs next week.
Yeah, I think we're done for real this time.
Yeah, done for real. Sorry, it's like, well, why is he trending on Twitter? And it's like, oh my word.
Yeah, Brad Guy says Arrival was ineligible last year. So,
despite the fact it was eligible for BAFTA, because
right.
Good ding.
So that's your show, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And we will join you once again when we are back here for our Oscar predictions. Mm-hmm. Tentatively for the 25th, you may be getting 2 podcasts that day. I guess we'll have to wait and find out if that's going to be the case or not. I have I don't have the run schedule yet, so it's right after that. So yeah, I have to wait and see what's going on with that. Occasionally I work on Sundays, occasionally I don't. It just really depends. So we'll get that figured out. And then we have a Spirit Awards podcast to do. We're going to predict the Spirit Awards. And then we have a podcast to do after the Spirit Awards. And then the final Oscar podcast of the season. And we're done with 2018. So once again, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.